I would like to discuss with you some preliminary information that you will need to make sure that you can get off to a good start in this class. Some folks already have this information and some folks don't. It depends on where you obtained your foundation with respect to this class. For example, we all know, hopefully, that if you're going to have any kind of a web page whatsoever, you're going to have to store some kind of code in a file. Many of you have only stored those files on your own personal hard drive. Many of you have stored those files on some kind of web hosting service. I'm not sure who has stored things where, so what I'm going to do is take some time with this particular video and show you how to very quickly create a file using public domain editors and upload them using Windows. I'm also going to talk a little bit about the protocol that you need to get this to happen. Okay? As many of you probably realize or you know, it's not that big of a deal to copy a file from, say, your flash drive over to the hard drive, or from a CD over to the hard drive, or move things around within your computer environment, such as copying files from folder to folder or whatever. We never really think too much about what's going on there, but in reality, what literally is happening is there is a protocol or a way in which we do things. It's called a file transfer protocol that occurs behind the scenes. This has been around for a very, very long time. Okay, so when we talk about being able to transfer files outside of the environment of our computer, such as from our computer to a web hosting service, we often say we need to use an FTP client. And that basically means since we're the client, the software will reside on our computer, and it would allow us to transfer a file over to the host using all the right things that need to happen. Okay? I'm not going to go into a lot of details in terms of what's exactly in the protocol. It's beyond the scope of the class, but you really probably don't need to know that information anyway. But if you're interested in finding out, you can always Google FTP protocol and read to your heart's content. Okay? So if I go into Firefox here and launch it, it's immediately going to open up my home page, which happens to be dbrodersen.com. I set that up as my home page, and the way that I accomplish that is by going to a page and then dragging from here all the way over to here. And now whatever is here becomes my home page. Okay? And as you can see, it generated all kinds of fun stuff. Well, the program to make that happen, or the source code to make that happen, is right here. And as you can see, there are a few things written in Java script that will accomplish things. Plus, we have a few things written in HTML to accomplish my goals. Okay? So it's kind of a collection, and that's kind of how JavaScript is. It's always a collection of HTML and JavaScript. It's never JavaScript completely by itself. Okay? So we need to get this information, though, off of our local computer onto a server, okay, or a host of some kind. So what I did was I purchased an account through Bluehost.com, which is like $7 a month for unlimited storage, and I've been sticking my stuff there. Rather than showing you guys how I wrote that startup page, let's kind of start from scratch. Let's just create a basic HTML page that's going to simply give us output. And the way that I'm going to do that is I'm going to use an editor called Komodo Edit. Okay? I downloaded it off the web. It's called open source software, and it's totally free. It's a wonderful thing. Okay? It's a very, very useful little package. So I'll just go ahead and double click it and launch it. And right out of the box we get this kind of a display. Do I want to open up recent files and projects? I'm going to say no. I could say don't ask me again, but who knows, maybe I might want that question. Okay, so I'm going to say no for now. And what it does is it gives me the option to open up a sample project to check the configuration of Komodo, have a look at any recent projects we've created or any recent files that we've created. It gives us an option up here to do some saving and various things that you will need to explore, because I'm not going to teach you actually how to do Komodo Edit, but it's a pretty darned intuitive program, and there's a lot of help out there on its use. And if you get stuck, you can always email me and I can tell you. Okay? But what I want to do is I want to create a new file. And if I click on New File, it'll give me all kinds of programming languages from which to work. Well, the programming language that I'm interested in right now is HTML or XHTML, okay? And I don't want it to store there. Where I would like it to store is in a directory that I created right off of my hard drive called web. Okay, and this might be the main index file that I'm going to be creating for my web domain. And I'm going to name it index.html. Now it's really, really important to realize that if a person just simply puts in a web page address and doesn't bother to put down a file name, the web host, the way that the provider has it set up, the computer there will automatically go looking for a file called index.html. And if it finds it, it will go ahead and send it off to the browser, and then the browser will display that file to the end user. Okay? It could be index.php, index.aspx, index.cfm, any one of the various technologies that are out there for rendering web pages to clients. Okay? So at any rate, this one I'll call it index.html, and I'm going to pick open. Thinks that it already exists, okay? And shall I replace it? Sure, I'll replace it. I don't know why I thought that already exists, because I know that file's not there, okay? That was an interesting error. Well, let's move on though. I'm going to come down here, and you're going to notice right off the bat that it immediately fleshed out my document, my web page document, with all the things that I need to get everything going, okay? For example, here I have my title tag, so I'll just go ahead and say home page for solutions, because this will be the area where I will store the solutions for your class, okay? And down here I'll go ahead and I'll pop in some HTML. Now you'll notice that the moment I type in an open angle bracket, it gives me some options, and I can scroll all the way down through here until I finally find the one that I want, okay? Or I can just type them in any way, whatever way works best for you, okay? And I'll just say hello world. Here is my home page. For the class, okay? Now, of course, I'm going to be considerably more sophisticated than creating something like this. My home page is obviously going to have Java in it and all that stuff, or JavaScript and all that stuff. You'll notice though that when I did the open angle bracket, it only gave me one choice as far as how to finish this thing out, because there really is only one choice, okay? If I put in anything other than what it's suggesting right here, I'm going to end up with an error on my page. So I'll just go ahead and double click that, and in it goes. Now that I've done it, I'll do Control S to save it, or I could have done it up here. And I'll go ahead and get out of Komodo, because I don't need it anymore. And I'm going to come on down here to the computer, go to the C drive, scroll down to web, and you'll see there that I have a file called index.html, with which we're all very, very familiar. Now, we can either use what's called an FTP client, such as CyberDuck, or FTP Pro, or something along those lines. Or if we're on a Windows box, we can take advantage of a very, very cool little feature, okay? And that is if you go into your computer again, you can actually access a native FTP client, that is, it's native to Windows, that will allow us to get into our domain. By clicking here, I can type in FTP, which is a message to the computer that says, hey, I want to use the FTP protocol. Now, my particular account, I believe I called it Solution, okay? SOLUTION. At least I hope I did, okay? That's the username right there. My username for the account is Solution. Your usernames are going to be the ones that I provide for you. Your password is going to be your student ID, okay? So I'll go solution at dbroderson.com, like so, and I'll hit enter. And give it a second. And now what it's done is it's come up with a suggested username, which happens to be what I typed, and it'll allow me to put in the password. What happens though if you fail to type in solution at and you just simply say FTP dbroderson.com? It depends on the server you're going into. I believe on this one what it will do is it will allow you, it'll bring up this here dialog box and allow you to put in the username and password anyway. If it doesn't though, just remember to put in your username, then the @ symbol, and then dbroderson.com. So what's my password? Well, did y'all get that? So we'll just log in. You'll notice that when I open this up, it's letting me know that I'm hooked up to the internet, and I'll just stretch this out a little bit more so you can see it. I'm at the internet, and I'm at a place called dbroderson.com, and there's already a file in there called .ftp quota. That file, what that does is it establishes how much space you're allowed to have on the server, and it's encrypted. If you delete the thing or you try to edit the thing, you will no longer have any space available on the server, and you won't be able to hand in your assignments. Okay? So let's go over here, grab a hold of index.html, and do it just like you would any other system. Just click and drag it over, and what we've done is we've copied the index.html over to the server, over to the host. Alright, so let's go ahead and close this down and close this down, and what I'm going to do once again is I'm going to launch Firefox, and I'm going to go students, capital STUDENTS, and solutions right there. If I click on that, because I've already done this before in testing, it comes back and it says, hello world, here's my home page for the solutions for the class. So as you can see, we've gone through the entire process that it takes to be able to get a file uploaded onto your server or onto your web area, if you will, so that you can hand in your assignments and so that you can make sure that your assignments work, okay, and also so that your peers, the people who are in your class, can also look at the work that you've been doing. Of course, I have to say, please don't copy each other's works. That's not a very nice thing to do, right? But you can look at each other's stuff for inspiration, and certainly you can look at my stuff for inspiration as well. If you copy files and folders directly, of course you'll end up getting a very, very low grade in the class, right? Such as an F. Okay, so I think that's all I have for right now. Hopefully that will get you going, and look forward to seeing what you guys produce in terms of web pages.